The Bucs and Saints have been playing since 1977. That was their first meeting. But it took until Sunday for the Bucs to beat the Saints 3 times in a row. That's why that says thrice is nice. It had never happened before. The Bucs had never beaten the Saints 3 consecutive times, and they were able to go into New Orleans, a rocking environment, a hostile environment, and take a win from New Orleans early to take an early division lead. So here's what happened. The Bucs played completely different than they played against the Eagles on Monday night. It was basically a 180. They had no rushing attack on Monday night against Philadelphia. They rushed for 114 yards as a team against New Orleans. The passing attack, well, that was there late. They kind of stat padded late in that game against the Eagles. They were passing the ball consistently throughout the game against the Saints. Baker Mayfield finished with more than 200 yards, had 3 touchdowns, did throw an interception, but the defense got the ball right back for him. We're going to talk about that defense in just a second. But for Baker Mayfield, he is off to a fantastic start. 7 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. The last time he's had a start like this was back in 2020, which is arguably his best season in the NFL.
Today shows us, if we do the little things right, what we're capable of doing. I had mentioned it after the Eagles game. That's a very good defense as well, and we missed it on that one. Didn't do little things right. A good defense is going to take advantage of it, but today it was a different story.
So let's talk about that defense. Antoine Winfield Jr., what a game for this dude. Only thing he was missing was an interception. He had everything else. He had a sack, he had a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. And that forced fumble and fumble recovery led straight to points right before the half. That was huge. It kind of flipped the tide on this game, even though the Bucs already had the lead at that point. But when you look at the entirety of the defensive effort, they didn't know which quarterback was going to play. Derek Carr had the shoulder injury, but he started. Still, no matter who the quarterback was, Coach Bowles talked about how the scheme of New Orleans was not going to change. So as long as they attacked the scheme, they were going to be okay no matter if it was Taysom, if it was Derek Carr, or Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston, by the way, came into the game through 1 pass. That 1 pass was intercepted. That's kind of ironic. But outside of that, Derek Carr was limited. Taysom Hill ultimately was limited. And, of course, Jameis threw 1 pass and it got picked off. The Saints didn't get into the end zone. They had their star running back in the backfield. Alvin Kamara returned from his suspension. Nothing really going for that offense. All they were able to produce was field goals. In fact, they kicked the field goal on their opening drive, and after that it was punt, 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 fumble, and then the end of the half. So that was really the Bucs defense holding it down, allowing the offense to kind of get settled in, get used to playing in that environment. And even when Mike Evans went down, Mike Evans did not play in the second half, they were still able to produce on the offensive side of the ball. You had touchdowns from Cade Otton, Trey Palmer, Devin Tompkins getting into the end zone as well. This offense is starting to flow, and unfortunately, we won't see it kind of play out until the next week because the Bucs are now on a bye. So that means they get to rest. They have a lot of key guys dealing with injuries. Mike Evans now on that list, but Jamel Dean did not play. Ryan Neal left Sunday's game. He was in the concussion protocol. So maybe they can get those guys back because in a couple of weeks, it's going to be a game that these players have had circled. It's going to be the creamsicle game. Right at Ray J, bringing back Bucko Bruce, bringing back those creamsicle jerseys, taking on the Detroit Lions.